All right, final lecture on creepiness. So I closed the last lecture again abruptly with a sort of reminder of what genre the Joker emerges from, right? The creepy Joker emerges from the genre of horror where the clown character is made into a monster, right? And again, going back to the uncanny, going back to Freud and his sense of what makes the uncanny and what makes horror powerful is the excess, right? Excess of misplaced desire, misguided desire that we see mobilized because of all sorts of repressive devices within society failing, right? As a result of the failure of social conventions and mores and normalcy inducing and imposing institutions, right? When they fail, we have the excess, the display of excess of desire, and that's what causes the abnormality, the uncanny, the psychosis. So that is the genre within which the clown operates, right? And horror movies that rely on the clown character, horror movies. Think about those. What were those Chucky doll type things, right? And there's a whole slew of films that kind of violate our innocence vis-a-vis the clown, right? So much so that today the clown is perhaps more closely associated with perversion and with horror than it is with cuteness or with an innocence or with simplicity, right? The ironic ways within which media has kind of moved our aesthetic appreciation of the clown. It's quite remarkable. So what the Joker is doing in turn is kind of extracting the sudden response that we have, the sudden reaction rather, that we have in a horror film perhaps, or in the genre of horror to a clown. He's extracting that suddenness and slowing us down in one, receiving him as an interesting character, as an almost likable character, certainly almost identifiable, almost sympathetic character, and then slowing us down also in terms of our return to moral sensibility, right? And of course, that's where Batman helps us. But ironically, McDonald's also has a sort of clown jokery character. The Burger King is clownish, right? In his production of creepiness. So there are these multiple ways in which the metaphor and the figure of the clown is appropriated within these creepy media productions that I had you guys watch. So as you think about the minor aesthetic of creepiness, and I call it minor because it isn't something that is given the dignity of philosophical engagement, right? I mean, Adam Kotsko is trying to change that, and I think there are several other theorists who are trying to draw attention to affects, emotions, and feelings that we don't talk about in lofty scholarly terms, right? But that we experience every day, and perhaps increasingly are comfortable with feeling every day in comparison, say, to the more lofty emotions. And we talked about this when we discussed the sublime, right? In class, when I said that we almost never find ourselves using the word sublime in everyday parlance, right? We don't usually use it to describe an emotion that we're feeling because we kind of reserve it for extra special occasions because we cannot cheapen it. But we are okay saying weird or creepy or cool or cute, right? And I'm one of the several scholars who are invested in thinking about these emotions and taking them seriously. So, which is why I'm drawing attention to what I'm calling graphene aesthetics, aesthetics that stretch, right? Aesthetics that can be twisted and turned and have a sort of malleability and flexibility that perhaps some of the serious aesthetic categories don't have, right? So as we start thinking about other minor aesthetics, and we'll start seeing them emerge in our coursework, I would like you to think about what is the larger, major aesthetic that it is stealing from, right? As creepiness is stealing from horror, minor aesthetics kind of seem to attach themselves to major aesthetics and major aesthetic qualities, and then they kind of slip away from them, become a different beast, a different monster on their own, right? So, but always hinting at, always suggesting their history of attachment to that major aesthetic. So I would like you to start paying attention to those and conduct those close readings, right? Like we did a close reading of The Clown, like we did the close reading of fast food, right? I mean, and its connection, its kind of rather perverse and creepy connection to sexual implications in advertising culture, that we completely, well, many of us completely overlooked, right? And focused exclusively on the Burger King King's inappropriateness. That is also an example of close reading. What we just did to start putting together an entire narrative, right, of meaningful possibilities, right, based on how closely and critically we analyze the items. So as we go forward, as we start watching different texts and reading different texts, I would like you to be attentive as you've been, and perhaps even more attentive than you've been to what is going on and what are the implications of these in aesthetic context, and how are these aesthetics connected to social, ethical, political environments which we inhabit, right? All right, what I will do is I will wrap up this lecture now. I will expect you to post feedback and comments on these lectures by Sunday, which is a few days from now, a couple days from now. I will also tomorrow post a discussion thread on your next reading, and I will also add a lecture, right? Maybe two or three lectures on the reading itself. So go ahead and complete your assignments, go ahead and complete the readings, the viewings if you haven't already done so. I will post a revised syllabus now that we know we're opening on Monday by Sunday afternoon, right? So thank you for your time, your attention. I will look forward to and I will expect your comments and feedback on these lectures. If you have any questions or comments, if you have insights that you want to add, if you have differences, right? If disagreements, I would welcome your articulations and your thoughts on the matter. So please do take this opportunity seriously. This is counting as makeup work, so that is why you have to participate as you can and will, I hope. So I will look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you on Monday. Yay! See you. And I will, of course, I will post my lectures tomorrow. All right. Bye.